If you thought chatbots were a big deal, you need to get ready for what's coming next. We're about to dive into AI agents. This is probably the next massive leap in productivity, and maybe, just maybe, your first truly autonomous digital worker. You know the feeling, right? You've spent all this time crafting the perfect, super detailed prompt, listing out every single little instruction, just to get one thing done. I mean, it's powerful stuff for sure, but it can kind of feel like you're still doing most of the heavy lifting. So what if you could just state your goal and have the AI figure out the entire rest of it? And this right here is the fundamental shift. See, a chatbot is a conversationalist. You ask it, hey, how do I find contact info for the top marketing agencies? And it tells you how. But an AI agent? Well, an AI agent is a doer. It actually goes out, finds that information, and then puts it into a nice, neat spreadsheet for you. It's the difference between having an advisor and having an actual assistant who gets stuff done. So what's the magic that makes this possible? It all comes down to one word: autonomy. An AI agent isn't just following a recipe you wrote out. It's actually understanding what you want, what your intent is. It then strategizes and uses real digital tools to execute a plan, all without you needing to hold its hand through the process. Okay, so how does an agent actually, do things in the digital world? Well, it all starts in its own personal workspace. Let's pop the hood and take a look. When you fire up an agent, it gets its very own private, secure computer up in the cloud, what we call a sandboxed environment. And this is so important because it gives the agent a totally safe space to work, to browse the web, and create files without ever touching your personal system. And inside that private little workspace, the agent has its hands and eyes. It's got a web browser to surf the internet just like you would, a code interpreter to handle complex math or data work, and of course, a file system to manage all the documents it creates and works with. These are the tools that let it take real, meaningful action. This all comes together in a really simple but incredibly powerful three-part cycle. First, it reasons. It actually thinks about your goal. Then it plans. It creates a strategy to get there. And finally, it executes that plan using its tools. But here's the crucial part. If it hits a wall or something goes wrong, it can adapt that plan all on its own. All right, so this technology sounds absolutely amazing, but you might be thinking, how do I actually build one? Well, let's walk through the blueprint. It's honestly more accessible than you might think. The whole process really just boils down to 4 main phases. First, you've got to define a super clear goal, like, is this a research assistant or is it a sales prospector? Then you pick the tools it needs to do its job. After that comes the real magic. You write its instructions. And finally, just like any good employee, you test its work and you refine its performance over time. And when you're writing those instructions, using a simple framework like this can make all the difference in the world. See, you're not just telling it what to do, you're giving it the necessary context, you're setting firm conditions for what the final output has to look like, and, just as important, you're adding restrictions on what it should avoid. A well-structured prompt is really the key to getting reliable, amazing results every time. So, you've built an agent. Fantastic! But how does that actually translate into real business value? Let's talk about monetization, how to turn this powerful automation into either a new revenue stream or just a massive cost saver. There are really 3 main ways to charge for agent-based services directly. You can bundle them into a subscription, which is super common for SaaS products. You could charge based on usage, so your customers only pay for what they use, like per task. Or, and this one's really interesting, you can charge based on the outcome, tying your fee directly to the results you get for your client. And hey, it's not always about direct sales. These agents can create value in other really clever ways too. You can have them running affiliate marketing programs, acting as these sophisticated lead generation machines. You could even build and sell specialized, pre-trained agents on a marketplace for other people to use. So where are businesses actually using this today? Well, the biggest impacts we're seeing are in customer support, by automating how they resolve issues. Sales and marketing, by running entire campaigns pretty much autonomously. And of course, operations, where these agents can streamline all sorts of internal workflows, from data entry to generating reports. When you look ahead, it becomes pretty clear that we are moving toward a future that is fundamentally agentic. This isn't just about a cool new tool. It's shaping up to be an entirely new way of operating. And that quote really just captures the scale of this shift perfectly. Mastering agent tech AI isn't just about being a little more efficient. It's a strategic imperative. It will very likely define the next generation of companies that are fast, agile, and intelligent. So what's on the horizon? Well, just imagine teams of specialized agents all collaborating on complex projects. You could have a research agent that hands off its findings to a writing agent, who then passes a draft to an editing agent. Of course, as these systems get more and more powerful, the need for thoughtful human oversight becomes more critical than ever before. And that brings us to the end of our explainer. The technology is officially here, and the tools to use it are becoming more accessible every single day, which really just leaves one question for you to think about. What complex, time-consuming task are you going to automate first?